All right, we have Stifler here. Ask the girls their body count. New one here from Stifler, going around the table. Go ahead.
Undisclosed amount.
Undisclosed amount.
Whoa, wait. Hold on here for just a sec. Okay. How many scenes have you shot?
Several.
Because that's public available, right?
Several, yes.
So how many men have you had sex with publicly? Not in public, but
Like on camera?
on camera, yeah.
Several.
You don't know? Is it more than 10?
Yes.
More than 20?
Yes.
Well, now we're getting away from several, but
What is several? How many is several to you?
when I think of several, I think
Like five?
five, handful.
You ever seen that like meme where it's like Matthew McConaughey where he's like, it's like those are rookie numbers? Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street, yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
that film.
yeah.
More than 30?
Undisclosed.
Well, it is disclosed publicly on
Yeah.
Twitter and Pornhub and all those
And
places.
they can go and do that math
OnlyFans.
themselves and then constitute their own opinion.
Well, that seems rather inconvenient for the people to have to do that. If you could just tell them.
Oh, God forbid I have to do a little bit of work to cast my judgment.
Or they just don't want to watch porn.
Okay.
They'll never know.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to how about this? Do you want to give a range for the body count?
Okay, above 20. There's your range.
Is it above 50?
It's above 1 million.
Okay, well, you don't need to be sarcastic. You can just answer the question.
I'm not going to give you an exact amount because that's my own personal preference, and that's that. So if someone wants to go and count all the scenes that I've done and all the men that I've had sex with on camera, they can go and do that.
Okay. Well, a relationship is like a house. If a light bulb goes out, you replace the bulb, not the house, unless the house is lying blank. In that case, you burn that shit down and find a house with better bulbs. Faithless727. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate your patronage. Appreciate the TTS. Sorry it didn't come through. If there's any thing that needs to be, if there's a curse word or anything, it won't read it for some reason. Okay, what about you?
I've already said all that I've had to say.
Have you said the body count on a previous episode? I think you have. Have you?
Not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? You would know better than me.
No, I'm not sure.
You don't recall?
I don't recall.
Is this a fucking deposition? Don't recall. You don't recall whether you
I really
previously-
don't recall.
Okay. You see one client a day on average? How old are you? You're okay. Don't make me do math. I'm gonna start doing some fucking math here. Okay, so
next
you're a
person.
courtesan. Here, I'll just do it for you.
Okay.
You're a courtesan. Let's just say you see 5 clients a week. Okay. Now, do you want to correct me on that? Because that's the assumption I'm gonna make. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more.
I've already said what I had to say,
Okay, cool.
and I will not be disclosing any information about that, so we can either move on or you
I'll
can
do
make
the
your
math.
inaccurate assumptions about me.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make the inaccurate assumptions.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's say you see 5 clients a week. How long have you been a courtesan? Oh, come on, you can answer that. What?
I've asked that I will not be answering this question.
Oh, but if I had asked
we can
you,
move on, that'd be great.
If I'd asked you, well, hold on, you're not going to dictate the flow in terms of the show. So, you're leaving?
No.
Is this a rage quit? Is this a rage quit?
I've already asked that I don't want to speak about that topic.
Okay, well, is that a kick? I'll leave it to the chat if that's going to be a kick. Chat, is that a kick? Is that a kick? Is that a kick?
Hey, hang on. Come back. You don't have to go. We were having a good time. You don't have to get upset. Come back.
I'm just taking a little break. I asked that I don't want to speak about that, and if we can.
You don't. You don't have to. Let's engage in the combo, though. Come on.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, there you go. We'll engage in the combo.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, what's your body count?
Oh no. You're asking me? My turn? Yes. Me? Oh. I'm not answering that question.
The chat seems mixed on it. You know what we'll do? We'll give you a little grace here. You can stay, but you have to wear the dunce hat for 10 minutes. Okay, all right. There you go. It'll bring out the color of your eyes. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not answering that question.
Okay. Do you want to give a range?
Actually super cute.
I'm not answering that question.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
See, I don't.
So I'd rather not disclose that information only because my 17-year-old brother, who's really looks up to me and he's watching this podcast as of right now, I'm not gonna say a number.
He's aware that you're a stripper, though?
He is, but that doesn't mean I'm a prostitute, but I just would rather not.
What? The body count question doesn't have anything to do with whether you're a prostitute or not.
It just
means-
feel okay. Well, I would feel really embarrassed if my brother knew that.
I should have started. You got to put the cap on. Go ahead. There you go.
What's the purpose for this hat?
It's a dunce cap.
For what is? Why am I
Put
wearing
it on.
cone of
You
shame.
accepted the dunce cap.
Why? What? I don't. What is this hat
Oh,
for?
well,
Because look, we're just kind of goofing around, right? Nobody wants you to leave. We're all having a good conversation here. We're engaging.
Okay, and I wasn't leaving.
Hang on. I'll
took a
just
water
explain it
break.
to you. The dunce camp there is like you look like you were about to rage quit. And
No,
so,
I
you kind of wear the
grab
cap
some
as like
water.
we know that it went a little too far. That's all it is.
I just respectfully got up to grab some water to excuse myself from the
I
conversation.
mean, when I was in the midst of asking you questions,
Brian, I don't want to speak about that topic. I asked politely that I do not want to answer that part. Everything else that
okay,
you've
but then
asked me,
I
I've been
asked you,
open with.
how long have you been involved in escorting? That's a separate question, which you would have probably been fine answering earlier in the conversation, but you kind of didn't want to all of a sudden. Are you going to put the hat on? You got to put the hat on. You accepted the hat.
You want me to wear the hat so bad?
Not so bad, but
There you go. Can you spin the propeller?
No.
you got to spin the propeller.
You got to spin the propeller.
Is this going to be the new thing? If they refuse to answer a question, they have to wear the hat for 5 minutes or some shit? Okay. Refusal. Is anybody going to have some fucking cojones and answer the question? Go ahead.
She owned it though, Brian. She owned it. Come on, spin the propeller. You owned that shit. Spin the
Stop
propeller.
talking. Please continue
No?
with the questions. Forget about the hat. Let me wear the hat for 10 minutes, and then I can take it off. So the next person wants to wear it, they can wear it. But if I don't want to take the hat off in 10 minutes, maybe I'll just take it.
Can somebody put like a timer for my homegirl right here? 10-minute
Go ahead.
timer. So
Go ahead.
What?
What's your body count?
Undisclosed.
Not gonna answer it. Undisclosed.
Where's Madison when you fucking need her?
No, Miss Madison. She's sick. Same answer as always. I think body count is really important, even though that wasn't even the question. So I will not be answering because I think that's important information to share between partners.
Period.
So
but then I
okay,
get scolded for it.
given all of your refusals, do you guys? I assume your position must be no. Keep it on. Keep it on. It's not been.
I'm gonna wear it.
Scientifical scientist donated $99. How about this? Is your IQ higher or lower than your body count?
That's funny. Me?
Everybody.
My IQ is
Everybody.
higher. Oh, my IQ is way higher.
Is anybody's IQ lower than their body count?
Well, what's a low IQ?
Well, let's just say this would be. Oh my God. Whatever. You said 100.
100?
Hmm?
Obviously, it's lower than 100. Yes. Way lower than that. But I still think it's embarrassing just to say the amount of men you've slept with, Well, for me.
Do you think the amount of men that you sleep with matters for your future relationship?
Here, pass me the hat.
But that's for a future relationship. It's not for half the world to know or like publicly. So you said yourself that you wouldn't disclose.
Yes, that's because I think it does matter.
Okay, going around the table, does body count matter?
No.
How about this? Do you think men are insecure for caring about a woman's body count?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Does body count matter? It's
Do you
a
think
personal
men,
preference.
let me repeat the question for you. Do you think men are insecure if they care about a woman's body count?
I think that if men care about a woman's body count, then that's their personal opinion.
Do you think they're insecure for having that opinion?
I don't have any other opinion other than I just feel like that's their own opinion and they're entitled to that opinion. So that's it. That's my.
Do you think
2 cents
there's
on it.
any scenario where a man can be insecure when it comes to his dating preferences?
I feel like if a man can say that he doesn't like something and that he doesn't want his girlfriend
Whoever's
being a sex
banging
worker,
on the floor, kindly stop. Go ahead.
I said if he wants to not date a sex worker, then that's his personal preference. And
No, but and the subsequent question I asked you was, is there any scenario where a man's preference can be deemed as insecure? Can men be insecure in any scenario?
no, because if they're secure enough to say that they don't want their girl doing sex work or whatever, then no. I don't feel like that's insecurity.
So your answer is it's not insecure if a guy prefers a woman with a low body count or cares about body count.
No, I was saying that to your other question.
Okay, so I'll ask the question again. Is it insecure for a man to care about a woman's body count?
And I will say again that I think that that's their personal opinion.
Do you
Like,
think
I
their
don't-
personal opinion is insecure?
No, I don't think their personal opinion is insecure. That's their personal opinion, and like I respect them for what they.
And do you
their
have an opinion
is.
on their opinion?
Do I have an opinion on their opinion?
Correct. That's kind
My
of what I'm
opinion
asking.
on their opinion
Yep.
is do whatever you want to do. Like, I'm not. I respect your opinion. Whether we
Okay.
don't see eye to eye in me being a sex worker and you doing your stuff, I respect you in what you believe in.
You respect
Who
that
am I
they-
to tell you that I won't respect you because we don't see eye to eye?
That's not the question I'm
I
asking.
know, but I'm saying,
You're saying what?
and I keep saying the same thing, same answer to my question.
But you're not
Brian.
really answering the question.
Yes, I am.
You're
I
like
feel
sort
like
of
I
like
am
refuse. You're
answering the
dancing
question.
around, like you're objecting
I think
to
that's-
wanting to answer in the affirmative or negative whether you would deem a man caring about a woman's body count as insecure.
I don't deem it as insecure.
No, but what you're saying is, oh, people are entitled to have their preferences, but do you view that preference as insecure? You're dancing around it.
I don't deem it as being insecure.
Oh, easy. Okay.
Okay. Yes, body count matters.
Do you think it's insecure for men to care about body count?
No.
Okay.
No.
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 Nope.
You said yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it insecure?
What I did prior to you is none of your business.
It is my business.
If I can share that with you and what I choose to share with you. So I'm not going to go through and ask how many times did you have sex with your last girlfriend. I'm not going to go through and grill those questions because they say sometimes ignorance is bliss, and I would much rather not know how many partners my person has had because that is not relevant to today and our future together.
Would you ask about a felony record?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that affects where we're going to live and what we're going to do. And so my body count is not going to
Well,
go
wait.
on people's
It's
pages.
none of your business what I did in the past, right? It's none of your business
comes
what
to
I did. I'm
sexual-
reformed now and
yes,
everything's
please-
great now, right?
Please pen me in a corner with my words. What I'm saying is when it
Nobody,
comes to
doing
nobody
that.
wants to peg you. Okay.
I
relax.
didn't say peg, I said pin. I'm
I
not
heard
into
peg.
pegging either, so not my forte. But yeah, no, I just think that it shouldn't matter. My body count should not matter to you. If you are secure and you want to see a future with me, it shouldn't
Yeah,
matter.
but I think my felony background shouldn't matter.
Yeah,
And if
because
you were
that's
secure and you
legal,
wanted
and
to
that
see a future
affects-
with me, you wouldn't be asking about whether or not I had any convictions in my background. What kind of insecure woman would ask that? Shouldn't you be secure?
That affects where we're going to live. That affects applications. That affects so
Well,
much.
it could affect how many ex-boyfriends you have who come out of the woodwork. It could affect what your past situations were, which could affect your credit score, could affect how much money you make, could affect the fact that you can't get a job because you've been in pornography, could affect thousands of different things in our personal life, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Checkmate.
No, I'm just letting you have that. That's my choice to let you have that.
Wow, dude, that's
I mean, you said body count doesn't matter, but we've already talked about how it does matter and how cheating, marriage, and all of those things. Like, I'm just wondering, how do you, given irrefutable evidence, choose to ignore and not even look at the facts?
That doesn't matter. That's not going to. What matters is how you treat me, where you want to go in life, and those are the things that really matter at the end of the day, not how many people someone has been with.
Exactly. The felony background doesn't matter. What matters is how you treat me, and what matters is how you're good to me, and what matters is our future together, not my past. Why would that matter?
You can't chalk up 30 felonies with 30 bodies. Those are not.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same.
What about 300 or 500 from a porn star? You think that would have no effect on the life of a man at all, really?
Okay.
That doesn't seem slightly absurd to you? I think that a DUI background would have less effect on your life than having a porn star woman, don't you think?
Sure.
But you'd still want to know about that DUI, wouldn't you?
It's important to know how it's going to affect me on paper. Your body count
Right,
does
it's
not
going to be
affect you on
important for me
paper.
to know how it's going to affect me too, your exes, what your current status is going to be, how much of this stuff. Maybe little Johnny is going to come home one day and be like, hey,
Nickelodeon
Dad,
donated
I saw Mom,
$100.
and she was on the
This
internet
convo,
fucking dudes.
Well, who's
right?
on first? Yeah. Go ahead and tell me. Who? The guy on first. Who? The guy playing first base. Who? The guy on first. Who's on first? What are you asking me for? I'm asking you.
That's a great Abbott and Costello bit, by the way. But yeah, so back to this. I'm just curious, as we dive into this, it seems like you want to know all about your partner's history, but they just don't have any right to know about yours. Doesn't that seem like quite the double standard?
I can ask questions, but I'm not gonna. I haven't asked my partner how many people have you slept
I'm
with
going to
because I
swap
don't
your seats
care.
and move over there.
And that's my choice to not care. And
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't
why would
make
you
me
care about
insecure.
his felonies, though, if all of the
Because
same
that
things
affects where
apply?
we
It's just
can
about the
live.
future together, right?
That affects where we can live, and stuff on paper.
So could your status as a pornography star. So like, what if you had children with this guy, and little Johnny comes home and he says, "Look, I'm getting beat up at school because it keeps showing me all these videos of mommy sucking all this dick."
Well,
You don't think that would maybe affect our future status in relationship just a little bit?
that is a bridge for me to cross if and when I get there, and that can be a hypothetical for so many people out there, and I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, though that's nice. You're not worried about that, but I would guess that a man who would date you might be worried about that. Guy who marry you might be worried about that, just like he would be worried about whether or not he had a felony background for the same reasons, right?
Porn and felonies do not equal the same.
No.
Maybe in your
anything
Christian
which you
head they
consider an
might,
analogy.
but on paper it does not.
Okay, again, anything which you would consider an analogy is always going to be a comparison of two different things because nothing's ever the same as anything else. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you a hypothetical based around the fact that many men have
Coyote
felonies
Fiver
and you wanna
donated
know.
$100. Okay, the Latina might be making terrible life choices, but my God, she's adorable. 10 tenths in my book, to quote the Texan. Would you ever date a pilot or a controller? We work a lot.
Who's the tech? Would you date a pilot or a controller? Quick, you're the Texan.
Sure, I would.
Okay.
Also, can I just ask one quick follow-up here?
You can
'cause
go
we
ahead.
were-
Continue.
Yeah, so we were. What about credit score? Would you care about that?
Anything that's going to affect us on paper needs to be discussed and dissected, for sure.
Because whatever affects you on paper affects your material conditions, right?
Yeah.
Then so does your body count. The fact that you're a porn star, somebody could have children with you, and your children could then get beat up at school and bullied over it, would definitely affect your material conditions, wouldn't it?
In
Can
the
you see
future.
any way where that would not affect your material conditions?
On paper.
Yeah, okay, on paper.
I
The paper
understand
part
the
is the
point
effect
that
of
you're
the
trying to
material
make.
conditions part.
I understand the point that you're trying to make.
Wait.
That's such a
Hold on. I have
far-fetched
a
hypothetical.
question.
It's
Let's.
such a far-fetched episode that if you have children with a man and you did pornography for years and years of your life, that kids at school are going to come to him and be like, look, here's your mom, right? And she's in a threesome. And look, watch, here's the part where she gets donkey punched. You think that's far-fetched? Really?
You know
You
what?
think that's
There's
far-fetched?
several porn stars out there with children who have not had this scenario and who have also had this scenario. So I'm not the one to ask or entertain this question because I don't have children. And that's the end of
Yeah,
my
but the point of the question was to say if you're going to get married, right, or you're going to, get with somebody, I'm guessing there's the potential of children in your future.
Okay.
So then that would definitely,
It would
your
impact,
history,
but
your
think
past
about-
history is definitely going to matter. And when it comes to the future of the history you have with a person, isn't it?
But the question is about body count, not porn.
Yeah, but even with body count, you would agree with me that the more bodies you rack up, the more likely it probably is that you have some kind of like maybe sex tape out there, something like this.
Okay. Think about how many women now have OnlyFans, who do porn, who have children. Think about like this new wave. We don't really know how it's going to impact the future. And it's becoming more and more of a norm almost. Do I encourage it? That's not my place to say anything.
I'm so glad I'm not dating donated $100. Communication is foundation. Past, present and future. My wife and I have disclosed everything. If she would have said it's none of your business or vice versa, we wouldn't be where we are. Nasty hoe.
I love that.
So I mean, he makes a valid point. Don't you think that a relationship's foundation should be based around honesty between
Absolutely.
the man and the woman?
Absolutely.
Well, then, if your partner were to ask you what your body count was, why wouldn't you just be honest
Then
with
I
him?
would tell him. If it really mattered to him, then I would tell him. Absolutely.
Okay.
No doubt
Okay.
about it. I wouldn't lie to him. I wouldn't.
So then it
not
wouldn't be
disclose
none of
that
his
to him.
business then.
I'm just saying, like, to the average viewer or the person, it's none of their business. That's all I'm saying. But the person
Yeah,
that
but
I'm
this
going
one,
to
no.
enter
Now you're
into a
changing the
life.
goalpost
No,
because
The
initially you
first-
were saying even if a partner asked you, it's none of their business.
If I'm
That's how
going
we
to
got on
spend
this in the
rest-
first place,
if
'cause
I'm
you
gonna
said it's
spend
none
the
of their
rest my
concern,
life
right?
With someone, and they ask me, then I would tell them. But I don't think it matters because the person's going to love you for you and who you are, regardless.
But then why would you tell him?
If he wants to know, then I will tell him.
Because clearly it must matter.
It might matter, and then that's my
Right.
bridge
Well,
to
then
cross.
why would you say it doesn't matter?
To me, it doesn't. I don't care how many.
Yeah, right.
women
To
he's
you,
been
it
with.
doesn't. But you see why it could matter to a man.
It could matter to him, but it doesn't matter to the person that I'm with, and that's all I really care about.
Is all that matters in a relationship you?
No.
Okay, so then when you say it doesn't matter to me, that's nice, but you could see why it would matter to him, correct?
But it doesn't matter to him because we've actually had this conversation in the shower about 2 weeks ago.
What?
And it really didn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean, you might not be with this guy forever.
Who knows? All we have is
Yeah.
now, and that's all I'm focused on.
Yeah, but even assuming you were, if you were not, and we were to insert somebody else in the place who it did matter to, you could see the reasoning behind why it would matter, and that it has nothing to do with insecurity, correct?
It is insecure for you to think that just because I've had sex with 5 to 10 men, that you are therefore
Oh, is that the number?
inadequate. It's not making
You said it
sense.
was over 20.
Yeah, this is all hypothetical. So I'm just
Yeah. So
indulging
let's
in your
engage with the hypothetical. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if I've had sex with 5 to 10 men and that mattered to you, then I'm not the person for you.
Yeah, but why would that make the man insecure?
Because you are judging me based on these past events.
Well, no,
which-
he's not judging
But it's
you
not-
because you won't tell him,
I didn't say I
right?
wouldn't
You're
tell
not
him.
going to tell him. That's the whole point.
I did
is
not
that you're not
say
going to tell
that.
him.
I didn't say I would not tell him.
Well, then, if you were to tell him,
Uh-huh.
right, why would it be insecure of him to ask?
I'm not saying it's insecure. It's insecure of him to
Then, if
take
it's
that
not
into
insecure for him to
consideration.
ask, then
No,
then
but
you,
it's
no more
insecure
leg
if-
to stand on.
No, I'm saying it's not insecure for him to ask. It's insecure for him to take that information and then therefore use it against me. That's
Why?
what I thought
Wait,
the question
use it against
was.
you as in not want to see you anymore?
Correct.
Why would that be
What?
insecure?
Because that's like, what does that have to do with anything? If you've had sex with more women than I have men,
But I feel
Because
like
it's just against their preference.
Yeah,
I feel
it's-
like because they're telling
Yeah,
you,
it's just, hang on. It's just against their preference.
Because
Why is
they're
that a problem
telling
if it's
you-
against their preference?
I feel like it's because they're telling you like, hey, like they're like insecure about it.
if
That's why, you know what I mean? Like they're bringing that to your attention. What? You know, so it's
I'm
like
just not understanding. For me, it's more so about the intent of the question. You can ask and I will tell you, great, and then we can talk about it, we can do whatever. But if you're going to, it's insecure for you to ask me that question and then use it against me. That's
What do
Yeah,
you mean?
why
What
is
do you
that
mean?
insecure?
But wait.
But they're
Use it
insecure
against you
enough
how?
to
For example,
acknowledge it,
let's say
though.
we're having a conversation and this is a person that is interested in you, you're interested in them, and you reveal your body count, and let's say your body count is 50. And then they say, oh, okay, well, you know, that's a deal breaker for me. I wish you the best, but I'm not going to pursue this relationship anymore. By your definition, is that using it against you?
That wouldn't be using it against me, no.
What?
Would be using it against
How-
me is if you were to slander me for my past actions. That's what.
Well, now you're just shifting the goalposts here.
Yeah, that's not slander. How would that be slander? Maybe
No,
he never
I'm
tells
saying
anybody
if you
about
were
it ever.
to slander me based on the information that I've provided you, that would be insecure.
That's not slander.
How did that even enter the that has
Slander would be somebody taking your body count, going and telling a bunch of
And
people and
that's
saying
what
that you're
I'm
a bad
saying.
person
If your
because of it. That would
intent
be
was to
slanderous.
do that.
That's never been the conversation.
Okay,
You're
and so
pulling this
that's-
out of nowhere.
And so I'm saying that would be the only reason that it would be insecure for
oh
them
my
to
god, this is
ask.
such a you're shifting.
No. That's not, again, even then, even if I granted you that this guy went and slandered you with it, you still can't tell me how it's insecurity. Even if I grant the whole absurd worldview that somehow it became slander because you told him and then he went and told the whole world, how would that be him being insecure still?
My point is body count does not matter.
Oh my
Yeah, I know, but my point is that it does. Can you tell me why I'm wrong?
You are not wrong. You are right in
Right.
your own head and
Oh
in the
my-
eyes
Oh,
of
no.
many people.
Do you believe there's an objective right and wrong?
Oh yeah.
True
sure.
and okay, so then how can he be right and also you be right?
We all have our own different perspectives. That's
stay
it.
there.
But like objectively, subjectively,
Wait.
Is it against
here,
the law
let
to
me-
have sex with more than 20 people?
Let me
not
take a
against the
crack.
law.
I'm gonna take.
Therefore, it's not right or
I'm gonna
wrong.
take a crack at this. Okay. So you said past shouldn't matter, doesn't matter, correct?
Okay.
Not okay. That's what you said. Just making sure.
It shouldn't matter.
Okay.
When
so
it comes to sexual partners.
let's
body
talk.
count,
So I'll engage you there.
Specifically that.
Absolutely. I'll engage you there. Would you date a man who'd previously slept with 20 men?
That'd be a tough one.
Gotcha, bitch.
Checkmate.
Well, that's men. That's different. That's a
How's it
completely
different? That's his sexual past.
orientation.
It's his. It doesn't matter. Let's say he's
That's
bisexual.
sexual
Let's say he's
orientation.
bisexual. So there's no concern over, he's secretly gay.
It's none of your business. How does it affect you on paper?
How does it affect you on paper?
I love the imitation of me. I really do.
Okay, so you would not date a man who'd previously had sex with 20 other men.
It would depend on how I'm feeling about him at that point and how much
Why?
of the future
But why
I
is
would
it even a
see.
question? Because your whole position this entire time has been, your past is your past, none of their business, doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah.
Past doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But clearly his sexual past does matter.
Okay. And like I said, it would depend on where I want to go.
Okay,
in the future
so
with
that feeling that you had just now where you couldn't immediately just tell me, oh, wouldn't care at all. No, you thought about it, and actually I think the truth probably lies somewhere over you would not date or sleep with or have a relationship with a man who previously had sex with other men. That's how we feel about y'all fucking dudes.
But not only that, but if you don't mind me piggybacking again, if this guy did gay pornography for a living before he decided that he was a heterosexual and he did not want to disclose this to you, how would that affect you on paper?
he would need to be forthcoming about that. That's something specific.
But how would it affect you on paper?
That wouldn't affect me on paper.
Oh, but I thought that what mattered was if it affected you on paper.
At the end of the day, yeah, but like it's more
Well,
so
then
about
at
your
the end of the
values.
day, he's not doing anything wrong, and you're being insecure, right?
What? Because he's had sex with men? If my
No,
partner
because
has had
that
sex
doesn't
with
affect
20
you on
men,
paper.
it would matter if I truly was like I said, my point is anyone who cares about you will accept you for you. And that is it. That is my whole point. And
Even
the
if
body
it-
count
so-
should not matter. If they love you for you, your body count should not matter to the person that you are meant to be with. That's it.
Both sexes, right?
Doesn't matter. If they love you for
Okay,
you, there's
well, right.
pansexual, there's bisexual, there's transgender.
So then earlier
there's
when
all
you
kinds of
said
stuff
that
out
what
there.
matters is that it affects you on paper, you must have been misspeaking, right?
No, I'm saying that's a factor. That was that certain hypothetical situation. This is a different one.
Oh, I see. So it's not really about what affects you on paper then. It's really just about how you feel.
If you want your win, I will give you your win.
Checkmate.
Well, you can't give me the win. That's not fun, right? That's not fun. I already took
She
the win, but
concedes.
I do want the actual
concede.
answer
I did
to this
concede because
question,
I'm
right?
just over it. I'm ready to hear other
What's
girls.
the chess thing for conceding? It's
withdrawal?
When you just
resign.
Not, yeah.
She resigns.
Yeah.
She concedes. Okay.
Yay.
Last thing, if I can piggyback on something Andrew said earlier, when you said something about like the on paper, right? Well, when you get your STD results, typically that's on paper, and somebody
Yeah.
who's the more sexual partners you've had, the greater likelihood of having an STD. And also, one thing that occurred to me, Andrew brought this point up, which actually is it's something that's occurred to me, but I've never really argued it. The more past partners you've had, the greater likelihood that you've rolled the dice and you've landed on a fucking psycho. I have an anecdote that I can give. So I don't want to. Let's say there was a girl I was dating in the past year, 2 years, whatever, and I was interested in her. She was interested in me, and very early on in the relationship, like we'd only hung out one time, she sends me a photo of her car totally destroyed, smashed up, all the windows broken in, just papers disheveled, everything. She tells me her ex-boyfriend did it. Now, me as a guy, I'm not interested in dating a woman. I don't care how attractive she is. I don't care how great she is as a person. If she has some like bullshit dude that's still in the picture who's like gonna fuck my life up, I'm not about it. Actually, there's another scenario kind of similar to this. But in any case, I don't want to date a girl who's got like dealing with like some crazy stalker ex dude.
And nobody
And the
does.
more dudes you've been sexually involved with, you're rolling the dice. You keep rolling the dice, then you land on a fucking crazy one. And then as a dude, I don't want to be in some situation where this guy's still in fucking love with you, and he's violent, and he's belligerent, and he's got mental health issues. And if you're kicking it with me, he comes over to my house. I'm not dealing with that shit.
And that's a very real scenario.
And the more
that's-
dudes you deal with, you could end up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could, but
Now,
go ahead.
well, I don't want to really, I don't know all the details of this, but Andrew, there's somebody who's semi kind of in the orbit of our community who was dating a girl. Her ex was like crazy or whatever, He went over to their house. I don't know if she shot the chick, shot the dude. Do you know who I'm talking about, Andrew?
I do not. If you bring up the name, I might recognize it.
I don't know the details of it. I don't want to like say anything.
But he is correct. He's just saying that purely by chance, right? If you were to take just a simple flu virus, right? The more people whose hands you shake, the more chances you're going to get the flu, right? You would agree that that's true?
Sure.
Okay, so if we agree that that's true, wouldn't this same logic also apply to relationships? The more people you engage in a relationship with, the more likely it is that you're going to come across a psycho.
And that is the woman or any party's responsibility to essentially close their past before entering a new relationship. That is being disrespectful to your new partner for not, one, disclosing that this person is this way and not ending things. And so like that is like the person that I'm entering this relationship, that is their responsibility.
By the way, sorry, you were referencing Hunter Avalone.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And yes, in that particular situation, a psychopath did show up to do horrible things to him and his then girlfriend. Just like a psycho ex. So yeah, that did actually happen to a streamer. So yes, it is true. The more people that you engage with, the more chances that this will come up.